Hello everyone! Welcome back to Luna the Book Moth. This is chapter 15 of Mornstar, the Maiden Voyage. If you like what you hear, please do consider liking and subscribing and clicking the bell icon so you know when I upload a new chapter. And without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 15. The boat had finally come to the distant shore. Dawn led Ceri down the gangway while Arumi followed at her heels. Sure you won't come with us, Abner? Nah, dear. I have my own journey to make. You keep safe, you hear? Will do, sir, and thank you very much. The girl waved off the kind captain until the daybreak was out of sight. Then she sighed and started on a dirt path into uncharted land. The path led between two hills before emptying into a valley. The valley was quite empty except for a few small houses that formed a quaint village. She walked in that direction. The valley was a deep hole within the ground, surrounded by steep, unwelcoming cliffs. The sun shone directly overhead and made every corner of the hole lit. Not a shadow was left. Dawn was happy. Arumi made his hunger known by constant loud mewing. Captain Abner had kept them well fed, but it seemed to Dawn that cats had no contentment, or that they were cursed by constant hunger. They walked along the center street of the town. It was in the very center of the valley. People came out of their houses to stare at them. Mothers kept their children inside while they barred the door. Men looked at them with disapproving looks. Elders rocked in chairs, giving suspicious looks. Women had looks of shock and anger. What had they done? An elderly lady got up and walked to them. "How did you come to be here?" she asked. I followed the path from the shore. I came across the water in a boat. Please, why does everyone look at me so strangely? Is it wrong that I am here? Dawn explained exasperatedly. I am sorry, dear, but we very rarely have visitors. Our ancestors found this valley and supposed it would be a good place to build, but when they did, they found they couldn't get back out. No boats came near our little shore. The generations that live here have never seen anything outside these cliffs. The lady explained. Dawn gave a long look around her and noticed that the eyes of the children had no curiosity. It was almost frightening. You have lived here your whole lives, trapped, she whispered to herself. Maybe I can help you, she said at last. Help us? How could a stranger like you help us? We are happy here. Our children are safe here, said a woman from her doorway. Silence, said the elder. Dawn held up her hand for calmness and quiet. You lie to yourselves. You lie to say you are happy and safe, but that is not what you feel. To be trapped alongside the old ones past, it is controlling your lives. You are birds in cages. You are not meant to live in cages, but fly free in the vast sky. I can help you. Just give me a chance, please. Your children have eyes without curiosity. They have no spark of life. How can you live if you aren't wondering? How can you live if you keep freedom in a cage? Follow me, and a new life will let your children run, just as they are supposed to. The children cautiously approached her. A little girl with brown braids, dressed in a white dress, tugged on Dawn's dress. How big is the outside? She asked. Unmeasurable, she answered. Is it scary out there? Asked the little boy. Sometimes, but very beautiful too, she said. We like it here. Is it very different out there? Asked the small girl. Very different. There are no walls to keep you in, and so many people you would never meet if you had stayed here. Friends you would never know if you had never left. Dawn answered, and as she did, she thought of her own story. If she had never fallen, she would never have met Dylan, or Abner, Arumi, Ceri, Miss Gatto, and the orphanage children, or anyone here. She smiled and let her little tears fall. Yes, it is scary at first, but you will be so glad you left. Otherwise, you would never have known how incredible it is. Will you come with me? The children latched onto her hands, and she led them to the cliff face. Arumi and Ceri following behind her, and the whole village behind them. She released the children from her hands and lifted them to her king's crest. She closed her eyes and her whole body shone with a blinding light. A non-existent wind blew her hair and dress, Vines sprouted from the ground and cliff base, small sprouts growing into giant trees in a matter of seconds. Up and up they went, seemingly growing from nowhere. The ground cracked as giant roots made their way to the surface. The vines formed a giant stairway. The trees held them up sturdily. The glow dimmed and the non-existent wind died. Dawn opened her eyes and released the pendant. She smiled at the children and held their hands. She led them up her staircase. As they neared the top, she noticed a certain sparkle in their eyes. Wonder. At the top of the crater's cliffs, the children gasped in amazement. The land was ashen gray and dead, but a single green tree drew the eye to its vast boughs and branches. The mountains were blue in the distance. The children ran to the tree and began to climb its branches. The grown-ups ran to scold them down, but Dawn held up her hand again, signaling them to wait. The elder came and smiled at the scene. She began to cry. When others started to question the reason, she pointed at the tree. Hear that? Laughter. This tree has brought our children laughter. I never thought this day would come when our children would laugh and play outside, so excuse an old lady for weeping so. The people thanked Dawn for her efforts and gave her rations for her journey. She waved them off and promised to the crying children that she would return. The barren land was flat and easy terrain. It came to Dawn that they would cover more distance if they were flying. Arumi could be carried easily, but what about Ceri? She thought this over for the rest of the day. That evening she built a fire for the first time in how long? Weeks? Months? She couldn't remember, but she built it nonetheless. She stared silently into the blazing embers. Arumi and Ceri were getting themselves ready for sleep when she spoke suddenly.
I've got it!
She exclaimed, spooking the animals thoroughly.
I can't believe I didn't think of it sooner. It's so simple. Ceri, do you want to fly?
Ceri looked at her with big, dewy eyes. It was apparent he didn't understand. Dawn went back to thinking for a short while before she got up and sat beside her companions. She set her king's crest against their foreheads one at a time.
Please work,
Dawn muttered. They both twitched their ears as soon as she was done.
Do you understand my words?
She asked. Both of their eyes widened and they bowed their heads slightly.
Good. We need to cover more distance. I can fly and carry Arumi, but I need you, Ceri, to fly on your own. You're simply too big to carry, and I'm not that strong.
Ceri bowed his head and permitted her to set the stone upon his back. Its light reached deep into his back and came back out as beautifully feathered wings. They were brown on top and cream on the underside with patterns like a hawk. He immediately got up and strutted around with his fancy wings.
They will fade if you get out of range. Stay close to me and you shall keep them,
Dawn finished. She bid the two of them good night and fell asleep after a few nibbles of a fresh cracker the villagers had given her.